I'm your host, Annie Bowles, and this is News du Jour. Hey you guys, and welcome back to the News du Jour, a calmer space to consume the news. So I have 3 mini stories for you guys today, and then we're going to jump into some longer stories. Hunter Biden has pled not guilty, Clorox got hacked, and YouTube has blocked Russell Brand's monetization. I can't wait to tell you guys all about these various stories. Let's jump in, but before we do, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about one of our sponsors, Liquid IV. So Liquid IV may be my favorite sponsor just because it is so active in my day-to-day life. As someone with a chronic illness, staying hydrated is not an option. I have to stay hydrated if I'm going to stay well. So Liquid IV helps that hydration last longer, and it delivers me 5 essential vitamins along with my water, which is just, icing on the cake at that point. It's going to help my whole system function better, so I never travel without it. I always have it on hand for a hangover or a time where I think I might have a hangover, just in case. And at the end of the day, it just keeps me healthy on a day-to-day basis. If you guys follow me on social media, you've seen that I use it in little ice trays, like all freeze ice cubes of Liquid IV. That's really concentrated to put a couple in my water, so I'm not like overdoing it on the day-to-day. But I love to consume it pretty regularly, almost every single day. So I wanted to let you guys know we do have a 20% off code, and that code is DUJOUR, DUJOUR. Now, without further ado, we will go ahead and jump into the news. For our first mini story, auto workers are threatening to close even more plants. So they aren't making the progress that they want in the boardroom, and thus the unions have said that they plan to potentially expand the strike on Friday if the talks don't start shifting their way. Stay tuned. And then for our second mini story, Danny Masterson's wife, Bijou Phillips, has filed for divorce, you guys. And my reaction to that is just now, after everything. She stood by him as he walked into court and stood by him through his sentencing. But now that, he's fully sentenced and he's going to be locked up for the vast majority of his life, she's like, nope, now's when I'm going to leave. So I don't know. I think it was definitely an interesting choice. The pictures of her headed to the courtroom with him showed her in like this polka dot dress looking very sweet. So it seemed like she really was like on his side. And at the end of the day, your wife showing up for you in such a situation can like send signals to the judge and the jury. So it is interesting that once it was clear he was never, gonna really be getting out or not for a long time, that's when she files for a divorce. Anywho, for our next mini story, the White House has been leaning on Republicans regarding a government shutdown. So they are emphasizing right now that a shutdown would throw a lot of uncertainty onto our economy, national security, and more, and have been saying, the American people don't deserve this. At the end of the day, the White House is gonna turn the screws because a shutdown is not a good look for anyone in DC. But at the end of the day, shutdowns have happened in the past, and this one would get worked through one way or another if it has to happen. And next up, for our first longer story, Hunter Biden pleads not guilty. So some outlets are reporting that this is, not surprising, but I do feel like it is somewhat of a surprise given that he was willing to take a plea deal. he plans to fight these charges. And, he initially, like I said, tried to take this plea deal. He was willing to own up to his part in things. But I think the plea deal was just him wanting to keep things as quiet and smooth as possible. But when it became clear that things were not going to go quietly, not going to go smoothly, he did the next best thing, which is to stand up and fight these charges in court. In terms of the details of this gun charge, Hunter Biden had this weapon in his possession for less than 2 weeks, and the part of the form that is in question is murky at best. If you guys remember, he checked a box saying that he was not abusing illegal substances. At the time, some people are alleging that he was struggling with his sobriety, but I think that would be a pretty difficult thing to prove for certain unless you have some type of photo evidence or a drug test. It's hard to say for sure that he wasn't, or that he was abusing illegal substances. I haven't heard any evidence of that nature showing for sure that he was abusing legal substances at that time. So I think this will probably be an uphill climb for the prosecution, but we'll see. The letter of the law says that he could face up to 25 years in prison if convicted and $750,000 worth of fines, again, if convicted. However, most first-time offenders with clean records like he has do not face nearly that amount if convicted, so we'll definitely keep you guys posted on any additional information that comes out through this court case and just keep you posted all along the way. And then for our next story, Clorox gets hacked. Are you a Clorox wipe fan? Well, I hate to say it, but these products may be a little hard to find for right now due to a freaking cyber attack that happened. Let's get into the details. So Clorox has announced that a cyber attack on their company has led to, quote, wide-scale disruption, end quote, of their production and basic operations. And this is obviously coming towards the time of year where we have cold, flu, and COVID season. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's true. We now have COVID seasons. How strange. But that will probably be normal for like August, my son and your kiddos, but it feels weird coming out of my mouth to say COVID season. Anywho, the breach to the Clorox company was discovered on August 11th, and it resulted in them filing an SEC disclosure shortly afterward. The company is trying to resume their normal productivity next week. But obviously, if they have been down since August 11th, that is weeks worth of delays and disruption. So they're planning to work overtime to try and fulfill all their orders and get stores stocked back up ASAP. But they are a publicly traded company, so they owe it to their stockholders to be transparent and to get a move on. Anywho, obviously, Clorox is not the only company that is experiencing cyber attacks as of late. Do you guys remember the gas pipeline ones? That was crazy. And now MGM Resorts is also reporting a similar type occurrence, but meat processors, hospitals, grocery chains, and more are reporting similar types of cyber attacks. So this may be a new frontier of cyber threats that we hadn't even imagined yet. We'll definitely keep you guys posted if these continue and what sort of the nature of them is, because I do think it's interesting. Some are kind of like held for ransom in a way. If you need someone who is in cyber to protect your small business, I have a great small locally grown company to recommend who is awesome. But yeah, this is definitely a new frontier. And last but not least for today, I wanted to let you guys know about YouTube blocking Russell Brand's monetization. So YouTube has now made the decision to block Russell Brand from monetizing his content on their platform following the charges that he's facing. He has over 6 million followers on his YouTube account, but we know most, if not all of them, are not there for comedy routines, but they're there for his far-right, conspiracy-laden rants. This channel could certainly have been bringing in a good amount of money for brand, especially at a time where big box companies would not be looking to hire him as an actor. So this may amount to a serious hit to his income, but I am so freaking proud of YouTube, though, for standing with victims. Here is what they had to say about this move. Quote, "If a creator's off-platform behavior harms our users, employees, or ecosystem, we take action to protect the community." End quote. I could cry. This is what ethics in business looks like in practice. And that is the news du jour. Today, I wanted to leave you guys with the quote, "Ethics is knowing the difference between what you have the right to do and what is right to do." If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use to listen. A rate and review or shout out on social media would mean the world to us and help us be able to keep creating the news du jour. But the best way to support all of our work is to become a patron at www.patreon.com/sugarfreemedia. You can also follow us on social media under sugarfreemedia.co on Instagram and just sugarfreemedia, all one word, on TikTok. Any little noises you may hear in the background are my rescue pup. He has a little separation anxiety and always records with me. We appreciate you listening and look forward to telling you about the news again next time on News du Jour.
Broadcasting from Oklahoma.